Welcome to episode 2 of Yapping with the Captain. Now, in episode 1, we were with Justin, or otherwise known as Big Rican, and on episode 2, we have the second most voted person in our category. I am here with THANATOS today. Welcome, THANATOS.
What's what's up? What's up? Still don't understand how I was the second most voted, but we here.
I mean, bro, some people want to hear about you. Some people want to understand. I mean, that's the main reason why I started doing Yapping with the Captain. And slowly but surely, I want people to get to know our community a lot better, get to know like the people that are very important, or some. Hey, one episode I might have bring someone who you don't regularly talk to. I mean, shit, like who knows? One day I'll get Jose in here or something. Someone people don't regularly talk to, like that, and get to know how they are
And
and
on top
how
of
they.
and
How,
on top of that, just having fun conversations with people you consider friends.
Exactly, for sure. I mean, fucking arguably my best friend Justin was the first episode, so someone I regard as a very good person, someone I've known for I think 6 years at this point almost. So, obviously, it gets people to understand how some people operate and, I think 1 hour of a conversation can give you a lot of information about a certain person, you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, definitely can.
So I'm here with Thanatos today, and we're gonna cover some stuff that we like to talk about usually because obviously Thanatos is. I even in my fucking Discord Wrapped, which I didn't even know they do, but they do it starting this year. It looks like, but Toast is one of the people I speak with the most. If not, he was the person I spoke to the most on my
Yeah,
on
you were.
my Discord
Yeah,
Wrap. So
yeah, you were my go-to person on there. So
yeah, so as you guys can tell, with the amount of fucking time I spend on Discord, that means I definitely speak to Toast quite a fucking bit. So, uh,
yeah,
we
quite a lot.
we know a lot about each other. We know quite a bit of our interests, and we share a lot of similar interests. And we're gonna be covering that today, starting off with some anime. So this is something that both me and Toast have a lot of knowledge in, and I'm a fucking nerd when it comes to that Shema Beer Wheelchair. I have
It,
a Hunter x Hunter
it's.
poster in the back. I got like a bunch of shit I love. So.
I mean, it's probably our biggest shared interest. So, because I got My Hero poster, countless anime figures, a bunch of anime pop figures. So
Hey, I
we
gotta,
ballin'.
I gotta say, I'm gonna take credit for being the person that got like fucking 2 or 3 animes into your top 5 because I got go to taste. Because I got Hunter x Hunter and ReZero in that bitch.
I
And
mean, I
those,
can't. I only reason I can't put fully Hunter x Hunter onto you because I would have watched it myself at some point. You just
yeah,
sped up the process.
I did speed up the process. And we did watch that whole
ReZero
thing
though was
together.
something I didn't even consider until you though.
It is, dude, and that is something I wanted to talk about, bro. ReZero is such like it's crazy to say because as a I got into anime a lot more when I was in like the around 8th grade, and I was someone who was like so shonen, and I was like, oh, I need to watch like fighting or like something like action packed, and I was like, ReZero to me, like if it's so crazy because the reputation of ReZero is so weird. Because back then, ReZero to me was just like it looked like a Gooner anime, which is kind of crazy to say because it's not even close. But just
Yeah,
because the popularity of Rem and like some of the girl characters in that anime, it makes it look like
it
it's just a fan service show.
and like it also doesn't help that it falls into the isekai genre, and so many animes in that genre fall under that Gooner category.
Exactly.
So it was just a lot of the fans of the isekai genre just kind of sway that way, so they see female characters and
Yeah,
start
it
barking.
goes it goes somewhere, and that was my other thing too is that I feel like you have to have such an expansion of taste to enjoy ReZero because it's not like any first of all it's not like any other anime one and another thing is definitely not like any isekai anime because it is an anime with a weak main character and you guys if you guys sit down and go watch the show which I 100% recommend you might not even like the main character for like the first 5 or 6 episodes because he's kind of fucking cringe. But you gotta
And
understand that Subaru is like a 17-year-old. You know what I
and
mean?
also, if you look at it, animes that have a weak main character, they exist out there, but the ones that are popular and are very few and far between, and really the only ones off the top of my head with a weak main character that have gotten popular are ReZero and then Tokyo Revengers.
Yeah, Tokyo Revengers. That's an anime that I was thinking of watching, but then I was like, I don't know. I feel like, especially, I think it was one of those animes that had a good season one, and then like after that, just fell off. Unfortunately.
I disagree with that, but that's me
Yeah.
personally.
I mean, I need to sit down and watch it myself. I mean, at the same time, I'd be a fraud to say that because I haven't watched the show at all, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it because yeah, it has a weak main character, which I would say doesn't become as likable as Subaru per se, but the characters around him are really what makes the anime.
Of course, and I think the surrounding of that makes it so like so likable. But in the case of ReZero, and what I think what made me love Subaru so much, and why I regard him as probably one of my favorite main characters of all time in any show, even like disregarding anime, is that he makes it where you can like him and appreciate him beyond physical strength, because I feel like that's something that you have to have a respect for certain main characters at a point, is their physical strength and how they do in fights and stuff, and especially when it comes to certain animes. But Subaru
Mm.
is able to use his mind and use his, his way of speech and his way of attitude to push himself and others towards his goals, because as a character he's going through so much bullshit, and obviously I have to, I can't spoil and I don't want to say how things go, but obviously Subaru is someone that suffers quite a lot more than most main characters and enemy characters in total. Yet
It,
he, as a fucking 17-year-old, finds a way to get out of these situations and push himself beyond it.
because Subaru, at the end of the day, unless it's like some fucking D tier bullshit monster, even then he may not be worth shit in a fight. There has been times where he has had to throw hands, and with backup he's somewhat adequate at it, but at the end of the day, if he's been put in like almost any situation where it's been that he's had to get into a physical confrontation, he wouldn't make it out of there without the backup that he has in that anime. And I do think that's a big reason a lot of people would look away from it, because like even myself, I didn't consider it. Like Suhudo said, I was someone who watched a lot of shonen, Dragon Ball, Bleach, Naruto, stuff like that. Hell, it wasn't even until last year that I watched my first slice of life anime per se, with uh, a silent voice, and then Your Lie in April, and both of those were incredible and opened my eyes to more things, like how me and Cejudo watched Taco P's Original Sin a little while ago.
No, Taco Pizza's original sin was fucking brutal. Oh my gosh.
Incredibly brutal.
Oh, that anime, dog. Y'all gotta go into that with an open fucking heart, bro, because that was that man. Oh my gosh, that one sucked. But man,
Yeah.
yeah, Silent Voice, something you just mentioned, I think is possibly one of the best movies I've ever watched. I think the representation of trying to redeem yourself, and like it takes a character that, if you look at how he was, you wouldn't appreciate him because you'd be like, man, he's an asshole. But you got to understand that, like, with the way the main character is, I think Shoya is, I think, his name, or I think it's
Yeah, so yeah.
Shoya. Yeah, Shoya is basically, I think that's the main character. He has such a redeemable like look to himself, and like you could tell like he feels really bad about what he did as a kid, and he doesn't let his past go. And I think that's such a it's such a thing that's like it's a movie a lot about mental health, and
Mhm.
it's very very important to look at things like that, especially some people that find it those type of things relatable, and that type of those dealings relatable. I mean, Toast, like, fuck, when we watched it together, I remember you were crying and shit. I
And
ain't gonna lie, I shed a bit of tears too when I watched it. So
and I also think that it is, as despite it being an anime film, I do think it's an anime film that almost anyone can find something to relate to in it, be it through the perspective of mental health, or just be through regretting past choices and trying to improve upon mistakes you may have made in the past against someone else to change them for a better future. Everyone has regrets that they've had in the past when it comes to maybe saying something you didn't want to someone that may have ended a friendship or something, and could have thoughts of trying to redeem yourself. And this movie basically takes that and shows what happens if you take that route.
exactly, and it felt like, especially in a lot of points of the movies, that no matter what Shoya tried to do or how he tried to redeem himself, that his past came back to haunt him every time, which I think was super sad to look at. But uh, other than that, like he had like like that movie, man. Whew, that movie was incredible. I think it's super beautiful, and I gotta say the voice acting was absolutely amazing. That I don't know what those
Incredible
voice
voice
actors
acting.
are, but yeah, the you could tell just the quality that was put into that movie, the things and the effort that was put into, and I think the writing was amazing. Another though that I thought was gonna be a lot better, which hey, don't get me wrong, if y'all ever watch this one, you know. I'm not saying the movie was bad, but I'm just saying I thought it would be a lot better than it was I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. Now, this is something me and Toast
Yeah.
watched together, and we watched it. I ain't gonna lie, there was like some points in the movie I was just like, I fucking hate this main character, dog. Like I don't like him. Like holy shit. Like how do you like I'm sorry. Like okay, and this is something I wanted to mention with Subaru, right? Like Subaru was as unlikable at the start, but he made himself redeemable. He has redeeming qualities. He has a personality that you like. Okay, I understand like why he acts like this. I mean, he's a fucking 17-year-old. He's immature. He has a cringy attitude. This fucking guy. Oh my gosh, Billy the fucking badass over here has no emotion. Doesn't give a shit. This and this. He puts himself in a victim complex. Like, bro,
It's
he
not
makes
even really that
situations
he.
harder on purpose, and that shit was pissing me off. I'm like, bro.
It is not. I wouldn't even say necessarily he puts himself in a victim complex, even though it could seem that way. He is just the definition of a person that's just like I'm the only person in my life that matters. Fuck trying to build relationships with anyone else.
Exactly, but like, bro, like this is a scene that fucking had me, bro. When that shit, when the that girl's best friend confronted him, right? And
Yeah.
he didn't say anything. Why aren't you saying anything? Like you're just gonna make it seem like you're an asshole. Like you're just gonna make it seem like
Right.
you're a bad person. Why are you saying nothing? Like you're just purposely being stupid. I know, like, bro. I remember that scene when that happened, bro. I don't know if you, like I remember I was literally just like, "Alright, bro. Like you're just being stupid. Like you're just being a dumbass." Like, and that shit like pissed me off because it just kind of ruined the vibe of what the movie was trying to be. And obviously, I don't want to
Yeah.
spoil what I Want to Eat Your Pancreas is, but like, bro, like what the fuck? like like you
Like
there's points where it was like kind of too far gone to like where when the main character actually wanted to start developing, it was like really way too late for that to happen. Like we should have seen those cracks a while ago, you know what I mean?
and then there's also times where like it was clearly supposed to be like an emotional moment, and that main character's attitude just brings you so far out of it that it's just like, yeah, I should be like sad or something right now, but like bro is just a fucking blank board standing here taking all of this in, and it's
Exactly.
just like, bruh, come on.
Exactly. Where like a lot of times where the female protagonist was like trying to make like was trying to like seem sad and like not seem sad but like was sad and like wasn't like in a good position. And bro just didn't do anything. Like bro didn't comfort, he didn't do anything, he didn't say anything. He was just a blank board of like no
Bro
personality, which I
bro's
guess
like
was the goal, but
bro's
like
like my
really?
presence is enough, madam.
Bro, like, bro, fuck, man. Like, tip your hat Fedora fucking Discord mod maxing, bro. Like, that shit was terrible, man. I'm like, bro, I what the fuck? Here's aura farming to a fucking dying woman, bro. I'm like, what the
I,
fuck are you doing,
I think we've made our point about that movie.
dude? Anyway, but nah, I just had to go on a little rant there because man, that motherfucker pissed me off, dude. But I gotta. So obviously, when it comes to anime, I have a diverse taste. Especially when I will say the most anime I ever watched consistently was when I was getting into anime right away. So like in eighth to ninth grade, I was like straight just running shows. Like most of the shows
Yeah.
I know to this day are because of that time. Like when I was the eighth to ninth, I watched Hunter x Hunter for the first time when I was in that age and all that shit. And I watched a good amount of Slice of Life. I watched Your Lie in April. Even watched some fucking stupid animes that I probably wouldn't watch to this day, but I watched them when I was a kid. I watched Dragon Maid and all these goofy shows. Like, bro, I would never watch that shit again. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it was still a funny show. I'm not gonna lie to you. But from those, I think my top five favorite shows when it comes to anime, and I ain't gonna lie, depending on how ReZero season 4 is, I'm still like so in between. But I think JoJo's my number one. JoJo's my number one. Number two is ReZero. Number three is Hunter x Hunter. Four and five is always like fuck. I don't know. Four and five is always such an unknown thing for me. but I think 5 would probably be Mushoku Tensei, probably, and then 4. What would my 4 be? 4 would have to be something I really, really enjoyed, but I can't even think of like any crazy fucking show. And I think about no, you know what? Code Geass. Code Geass would be my 4 for sure. I
I'm
think
surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised it took you a moment to realize that.
no, I know because I have a blank memory, dude. I've been working a lot, so yeah. But Code Geass would probably be 4. So like 5 would be Mushoku, Code Geass, Hunter x Hunter, ReZero, JoJo.
And then just to give mine here, which
Yeah,
mine I know just pretty easily. Number one, me and Jaden share it with JoJo. Me and him also share our number two with
ReZero.
ReZero. We share our number three with Hunter x Hunter.
We basically have the same exact top 3, bro.
But then this is where it gets more diverse because my number four is Bleach and my number five is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
And I started Bleach. I got to like episode like 10 or 12, but I just got super fucking like attacked by work and I just stopped. So I have to get back into it. But
You
from
definitely
what I've
do.
watched for now in Bleach, I actually have enjoyed it. So I
Once
got a
it
lot
gets
more
really
episodes to get
into
to,
the
but
Soul Reaper arc, which is like the first big arc, you're gonna have some fun when he has to go up and fight some of the other Soul Reapers, especially
yeah,
when he
because
fights Kenpachi.
right now it's definitely just like he fights other like he just fights like monsters basically.
The Hollows.
Yeah, he just fights a bunch of hollows, which is like okay, cool.
Just wait till he goes up against Kenpachi. You're gonna see aura you may not have ever witnessed before with that man.
Okay, but yeah, there's definitely like a lot I have to catch up to for Bleach, but other than
Yeah.
that, that's definitely like most of the shit we wanted to talk about when it came to anime. Other than that though, I mean, what's another what's another anime I wanted to see like other than that I want to check out. The one I started right now, I did tell Toast to watch is Darwin Incident, which
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie is the fucking funniest shit ever. Because if you got, I have to give a brief explanation because I don't even know if you do you know what it's about, Toast? Like at all,
I've
or you just have a brief
actually
idea?
when it was when the manga first started getting popular, I read like the first two, three chapters of it, so I have like a basis of what it is.
All I want to tell y'all, bro, this sounds stupid as a description, but we got vegan terrorists. We got vegan terrorists in there, bro. It's fucking hilarious. And unironically, the story is actually pretty fucking good. So, there's only like 3 episodes out right now in the anime, so I've watched like all 3 of them.
Yeah.
But I'm basically watching it as it's ongoing, and I actually like really really like it. And I think what's super cool about it too is that the main character is like not a character that you would like regularly see, because it's a basically half man, half chimpanzee. So he doesn't have like human characteristics in both like looks and like how he speaks. So it's like
Return to
super,
Monkey.
huh? Return to Monkey, yeah. But basically because of that, he has like a really, really like eerie way how he speaks that almost makes you uncomfortable. And that show is actually like kind of psychological horror as well, by the way, like in category. So there is some like moments where it like kind of makes you like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm actually pretty sure the manga is actually categorized as a dark comedy, tech, which is the term for horror comedy.
Exactly. So there is a lot of moments in the anime where it'll make you question like, oh, this main character is kind of like fucked up, but that's just
Yeah,
how he is. He's an animal at the end of the day, technically. Like
I
he's
mean,
half
he is
animal.
a monkey man, so
Exactly. So he has some fucking weird characteristics to him, but I mean, we could talk about fucking anime for hours, but we're gonna
we
go
really could.
probably move on the next subject. And another thing and I wouldn't say, well, I'd say but I'm getting into a lot more now. But something that Toast is a lot more educated in is horror.
Yeah,
Now,
horror is my number one, my numero uno. So yeah.
yeah, so I'm someone who's watched horror every now and then, and definitely since I've met Toast, I've sat down and watched quite a bit of horror because of him talking about it, and also us watching it together. So
Yeah.
I've certainly gotten more into the subject, and I gotta say, like, man, horror is something that is so like obviously some people don't like it, which I could
Hmm.
understand, but man, like you can find a lot of well-written movies that are in the horror category. Like some
I
people think that horror is supposed to be just like some fucking cheap jump scare like tactic, but it's not
I,
like
I
how it is.
really think a lot of people underestimate horror just thinking like, oh, it's cheap jump scares or eerie vibes. When in reality, I think it is one of the best mediums to tell a story in over like any genre. Just because, yeah, horror is meant to be scary, but fear can be demonstrated in so many different ways. Whereas, like, action, it's like, oh, there has to be fighting and shit. Romance, there has to be this. Comedy, there has to be this. Horror can be anywhere from a haunted house to a lone soldier on a battlefield trying to figure his way back to his base or something or his squadron.
Exactly. There's so much to go into when it comes to horror, and I feel like that gives it so much more expansion on like what to look at and what to understand about it. And like I think I couldn't tell you what my favorite horror movie was, but I think one that really stuck with me was that fucking one with the chick. I forgot what her name was, but oh my gosh, it was that French movie. Oh my goodness. We watched it.
Martyrs.
Martyrs. Oh my gosh, dude. Martyrs. Yo, that movie fucked me up a bit. I ain't gonna lie. Like not even like I scarred, but like wow, like what the fuck?
It there it's definitely not a movie that someone just getting into the genre should be watching, which you
Yeah.
might think, oh, Cejudo said he's kind of getting into the genre. Cejudo with his friends have watched some pretty intense shit. So when I brought this movie up to him, I knew he could handle it, knowing what he's watched with his IRL friends. Because it definitely covers some very heavy things from mental illness to childhood trauma to captivity, abuse. And the ending of that movie is something that really makes you, it's a movie that
Yeah.
really makes you think about mortality and death
Oh
in a
yeah, for
way
sure.
that you don't really think about it.
Exactly. And it's that movie I think was like and here's another thing I want to talk about. There's a difference. So there's movies that obviously go in for a lot more gore and like obviously like
Shock
the
value.
factor of shock value, right? And then there's movies that will go in for the actual scare tactic and actually be scary, right? Those are two
Yeah.
different categories of horror, right? And I've watched both categories. And I will tell you this. There's movies that do the gore part very well because it's actually well written, and then there's movies that'll just do it just for the sake of fucking doing it, which I don't like. And there is one movie that I've watched that fits into that bad category, and I will not be mentioning it, but Toast probably fucking knows what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're referring to, and yeah, let's not mention it so there's no one that gets curious and then
Terrible
regrets
movie.
their life choices for the next 6 months.
Terrible fucking movie. I watched it because my friend told me about it and he said we shouldn't watch it. And of course my fucking 16-year-old ass said, "Hey, I'm going to fucking watch it with my other friend cuz my friend told me not to watch it." And
all, all,
the
all
worst
I'm gonna
fucking decision I could have ever done.
all I'm gonna say is that's I've watched plenty of movies. There's plenty of movies I will say that I will never watch again. But this is the only movie that I have legitimately regret watching. It is the movie that made me anytime I went to go watch something that was more on the extreme end of horror, from now ever since I watched that movie, I make sure to read those IMDb parents guides because I don't want to go in blind to something, experience what I had to experience with that movie
It
again.
is so bad. It is so bad. But like fuck. But there is some horror movies that I did appreciate for sure. The one we watched with the lady that adopted kids. I forgot about that one. What was that one
Bring her
called?
back.
Bring Her Back.
Yes.
Solid. That was decent. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I think it was decent. That other one with I think it was French as well, but it was with that dude that came in and basically broke into the house and killed the whole family and all that stuff.
High tension.
What is it called?
High tension.
High Tension. High Tension was fucking sick, and had a crazy plot twist at the end too. So there was a
But
whole
you
thing
didn't too
about that.
much care for the plot twist.
Yeah, but it was a plot twist. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why was it there?
It's a plot twist that you can appreciate it for the director deciding to take a uh reach like a risk like that, but it's also a plot twist that needs a lot of suspending of disbelief for it to actually like make sense
Exactly,
logically.
and especially with how like everything is and how the movie went. Like you need to yeah, he felt like he did it just to do it, which was like okay, sure, but I feel like that movie could have been just as good, if not better, if they just left it like that and the dude was just a psychopath and just
Yeah.
fucking like I don't think they had to do it, you know what I mean? But
No, they didn't.
it was still a great movie. I enjoyed it because like as the difference is between that and the other movie I had just mentioned, Bring Her Back, was like that movie from start to end, High Tension, was what it lived up to. High Tension. There was so much
Yes.
fucking action from going to one thing to like, bro. That scene in the gas station had me on the edge of my fucking seat the whole time. Like that was a good fucking movie for that reason. But like,
Mhm.
Bring Her Back felt like okay, like what the hell. Like one dude, the only thing I liked about that movie was the dude. The kid, the kid guy, like
Mhm.
the kid in that movie was the only fucking intelligent person. Like he was just the only intelligent fucking person in that movie, bro. That shit pissed me off. Everybody else was
I
rage
mean,
baiting me,
it
bro.
but you have to understand the only other main characters was the psychotic woman that adopted them,
Yeah,
a kid under some sort of fucking spell that had been kidnapped, and a fucking mostly blind 14-year-old.
that's true. She was pissing me off too. I'm not gonna lie.
So,
Yeah, that blind girl was pissing me off. But other than that, the movie was solid. I thought it was good. What is a
you're
movie?
definitely in the
Go ahead.
you're definitely in the minority when it comes to not enjoying it as much because that movie did extremely well review wise. I think it's a lot better than what you have it as, but that's just also comes down to personal things.
Of course, but like I have my preferences in those type of movies and everything. But what is like, what do you think is your like? Obviously, do you have different? Do you put all of it in together into one category when it comes to horror, or do you have like a certain like okay, this is a shockumentary, this is a horror for like Annabelle is like a horror compared to like the fucking like you know
I
like
mean,
Martyrs, you know what I mean? Like there's a difference
if I'm gonna like rank horror movies, like what are my favorites, I'm just gonna rank them all under just the broad category of
of horror,
horror.
right?
But
Okay.
I'll definitely be like, this movie's the best of this subgenre of horror, or this movie's the best of this subgenre.
Okay, bet. So like if I were to tell you what is a top 5, what's your top 5 horror movies? Would have to be like it would be vague, right?
It would just be like my top five horror movies in general, and any movie that could be considered horror.
Okay. So what would be your top 5 if I were to ask?
My number one is always the easiest in this because two through five can change depending on how I feel with how much I love horror. But number one will always and forever be the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Yep.
movie, a
Yep.
movie that's also considered one of the greatest American movies ever made, not just for horror in general.
Yep.
There's I don't know how many times I've seen lists of being like, oh, the 100 greatest movies, American movies of all time, and like 80% of those lists put Texas Chainsaw Massacre at like number one.
Yeah, when I asked you, I'm like, yeah, I already know he's gonna put Texas Chainsaw Massacre at number 1 because he was like because that's something that you fucking talk about a lot, how much you love and appreciate that movie for sure. So,
Mm.
I
And
mean,
then my number two, which a lot of people may not necessarily consider this a horror, especially as you get older, but children's horror does exist, and this does have elements to it. And this is a movie that I've loved since I was a kid. It's something I watch every year around Halloween and Christmas. My number two would be The Nightmare Before Christmas because I just adore that movie.
yeah, is it considered hold on, I want to look this up. Is Nightmare Before Christmas before Christmas a horror movie? Like is it considered in the horror category?
I mean,
I want to see.
there's I don't know if like technically it would, but like there's the scenes when the like towards the end of the movie where the kids get their gifts and they're like all these like monstrous things and they're all screaming and stuff at the reactions of them, the gifts that Jack are giving, and like Halloween Town. Halloween is a horror holiday.
It's considered, so it's actually, this is actually a general discussion I'm seeing, because I'm looking up about this, and there's actual like genuine discussions about, is it a horror movie, is it a Christmas movie, is it like the people are like actually like having conversations of what it should be considered as. But yeah, I guess considering like how many people have different opinions about it, you could consider it a horror movie.
I mean, because there's definitely scenes that like there's definitely scenes in
Like
that
I
movie
would
that like a
fucking
6 year
consider
old.
Caroline a horror movie, bro.
I mean, think about it. It is a girl that finds another dimension where these malevolent entities are playing nice as her, oh, we're your parents, but better. But in reality, they want to
Exactly.
keep her trapped there. Like, that's a terrifying thing when you think about it.
Exactly. And I mean, especially what you gotta understand, like as a kid, your brain functions differently. And like, bro, when you're seeing like claymation and other type of things, like it seems like a scarier thing than, I like actual humans, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But then if I had to continue my list, like I said, number one, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Number two, Nightmare Before Christmas. Number three would probably have to go to the original It with Tim Curry. Not only just for pure enjoyment because of sentimental value, as I have a tattoo for that movie, but the sentimental value behind that is that was my grandmother who was like my best friend's favorite movie. She's the main person that got me into horror, and I got a tattoo for it when she passed away to cancer.
Of course.
So that movie also holds a lot of sentimental value for me.
Makes sense why you have it up there then.
And then number four would probably go to Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects.
The
I know
Devil's
though,
Rejects? What is that? I
yes,
actually haven't heard of that.
I've definitely talked about it around you multiple times, but
I'm sure you have, but I don't have like a faint memory about, like, I've heard Rob Zombie, I've heard of that, but I haven't heard of like I haven't don't know what the movie is about exactly.
uh, it's the second movie in Rob Zombie's Firefly family trilogy. It's considered the best because what it is. It basically focuses around this like deep South family that was inspired by the family of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like people go down there and go missing because that family abducts them and kills them, just like how it happens in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But instead, the movie is focused as the main characters are the killers, not the people trying to
Oh, okay.
survive that. Yeah, because like the second movie is all about the main three: Captain Spaulding, rest in peace, Sid Haig, the actor that played him, Otis, Driftwood, and Baby Firefly. Are that the second movie is fully focused on the three of them on the run from the police.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, so they're just trying to run away from the police. That's the whole thing.
That's while also committing heinous acts upon, like absolutely deplorable things upon the way.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
cool. I think
they
that's an
also get
interesting
hunt.
concept because it steps away from like the classic, like the main character is the victim. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it also does have some like cool things that like there's these two bounty hunters that get hired to try and find them, and one of them's played by Diamond Dallas Page.
No way. That's
Yep.
awesome. That's kind of cool.
The other one that's alongside him is Danny Trejo, the guy from Machete fame.
Okay.
So
Not too
yeah,
familiar
they're
about that. So there's that's pretty fucking cool. Honestly, I actually think I'll probably check that out.
if you watch those movies, we are watching them together.
I'm
I will
sure.
say there may be three. We can skip the third one. The third one had no reason to happen with how the second one ended.
Oh yeah. Is it just like one
Yeah.
of those trilogies that just were cash grab basically?
Yeah, I wouldn't even necessarily say it's a cash grab because the movies never were like critically successful or anything. Because the first two, they're more cult classics. They found their following more after they came out. Because all of Rob Zombie's movies are very decisive. They're kind of like you either like them or you don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's
So
cool.
I don't know why they did the third. I guess Rob just wanted to do another movie in the universe, even though the second one literally had in like definitive ending. But
Who knows? Who knows? I
and
think
then
you are
I
at 5 now, right?
yeah, I needed my fifth one, and number five for me would probably go to Freddy versus Jason, as that was the first ever horror movie I watched. Albeit watched it definitely too young. At least it was the TV edited version. I was like 7 years old. My dad was like, "Hey, you want to watch Freddy versus Jason with me?"
Oh my gosh, why would he do
Hey,
that?
it didn't like give me nightmares or anything. I thought it was a I thought it was really cool because it was just like even though I was young, just because of stuff I had been through in my life, like my parents' divorce, and that times I had looked at things a bit more logically than a lot of kids that age would, just because things I had been through,
Yeah.
and like I knew that a dude coming into your dreams and killing you couldn't be real. So like Freddy didn't scare me, and Jason was just some basically in my eyes as a children was just a zombie that was hard to kill with a big machete.
Yeah, so it didn't really like terrify you that much. It was kind of just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, cool. This is
Yes.
cool, I guess, as like a concept, but
Exactly.
not like as a actual thing. It didn't scare you. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, that's cool. I think now I can't formulate a top 5 because obviously I've seen definitely more than 5 fucking horror movies, but I can't give you a top 5 just because like I think I would have to watch a lot more horror movies to like be honest and give you like, oh, my 5 favorite horror movies is this. But I think honestly, out of all the horror movies I have seen, or like talk of shockumentary and all this shit, I think the best movie I've seen for what it is and what the meaning is behind it and how it's done in the movie's production, I think the best one was definitely Cannibal Holocaust.
Cannibal Holocaust is an incredible film.
I think it's a phenomenal movie. I think it was done very well. Obviously, there was some controversy that went behind it, and actually, the movie was so well made for its time that the producer got fucking arrested for murder charges, even
They,
though he didn't commit any murders. So the actual actors had to show up to
yep,
prove that they weren't dead.
director, not producer,
Oh,
but yeah,
the
literally,
director, yeah, but yeah,
yeah, it was
that
just
was
so
ridiculous.
raw and gritty and realistic in the way that it was made that I forget what country it was, but like he said, like the director was arrested and brought on trial for murder charges.
I still can't believe that shit. I like that is how like imagine a movie being so good that people would believe it that well. Like that's
But you
insane.
you also that also I think the reaction to that's also like a product of its time. Like
Oh no, for
I
sure.
think that like that couldn't I don't think that could like really happen nowadays.
No, no way. No way.
But like back in the 70s when that came out and we didn't have like social media and all this and through social media knowing all this behind the scenes knowledge of how films were made, people watched it and were like, "Oh my god, that looks too real to be fake."
Exactly. Like, and there were so many graphic and crazy scenes in that movie, but I will tell you this. It is a very, very well done movie. And like I said, I was talking about before when I was talking about like documentaries and type of stuff like that, is that there is people that do it for the sake of just doing it, and then there's a way to do it that it's actually well done. And Cannibal
Mm,
Holocaust does it very fucking well.
yeah.
It does it very, very well, and there's so many very good scenes. And I gotta say, the soundtrack of that movie, oh my gosh, like the soundtrack of that movie just gives you chills. I remember watching it with
Eh,
my friend. It was like 3 or 4 in the morning when we were at the final scene. Now, if you guys go
Yeah.
back and if you guys ever watched this and you're at the final scene, bro, the fucking soundtrack in the back while all that shit is going on, bro. Me and my friend were looking at each other. We're like, dude, I have chills. I'm getting chills. Like I'm actually like creeped out. Like I'm creeped out looking at the scene like that. And that to do that to me, for me to feel that in a movie, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's an amazing movie.
If this movie sounds cool to you and like the idea of shock factor done well, if you like the shock factor sort of thing, I highly check it out. Now, a movie I definitely don't suggest checking out, not the one we were referring to earlier, because actually the one we were referring to earlier isn't considered a shock factor movie. The director claims he has a whole like meaning behind what he made, but I just
There's
don't
no
care.
fucking meaning, bro. That shit was ass.
Now, now a shock factor movie that is Yeah, it's very fucked, but nothing nearly to the level that that is. But it's not like fucked to the point where you're gonna regret anything after watching it. But it's done in a way that they clearly cared about shock value and so much else that it's literally like it. It is top three worst movies I've ever seen. Don't ever watch Pink Flamingos. That movie is
Oh yeah, I've
absolute
heard of Pink
dog
Flamingos.
shit.
I've heard of Pink Flamingos. I've heard it's like a super like educational movie or some shit apparently.
No, it's not. It's a trash shock value purely for shock value mess of a movie.
Is it that bad? I was actually because I've heard of it. Actually, so this is and I actually do recommend you guys watch the this man, my fucking monitor keeps closing for some fucking reason. Hold on. Um I do recommend you guys watch this video when you guys have the time. And I love
Hmm.
this one because it's actually like very well done and he explains everything very well. Go watch the horror movie Iceberg video from Wendigoon. Very, very, very
Not
good.
out Wendigoon.
Shout out Wendigoon. Very, very good YouTuber, first of all, and also a very good iceberg video that he explains a
Yeah,
lot of like from the top of the iceberg, he explains all the plot to the bottom of the iceberg, which is like all the snuff films and all the
yeah.
crazy,
It,
creepy shit that like people don't like want to fucking watch,
and
but he explains those very well.
I am pretty sure Pink Flamingos is in there,
Yeah,
and I
it
do
is.
think
That's how
you're
I know
just
about it. That's how
yeah,
exactly
I
how I
do
know
think
about
you
it.
were actually just confusing the educational for a different movie on that iceberg because Pink Flamingos is a horror comedy that centers around a misfit family that are just the absolute worst people you can
Yeah,
think
it's
of.
like the most. I think it's the plot, not plot, but I think the title of it, like behind beside Pink Flamingos, like the most disgusting family in the world or something like that.
Yeah, like not that it's the most disgusting movie ever made is what they say it is. It and it is. There's scenes that are definitely like can be vomited. That can definitely be like vomit inducing if you have a queasy stomach. Like there's scenes I've had to look away because they involved like throw up, and that's something I can't deal with.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's just not a good movie. None of the comedy lands. It's all just super edge lord comedy that's like not funny unless you're 15 and terminally on Reddit.
Yeah, so it's but that's why. But basically, no. The meaning behind Pink Flamingos is basically. So I just looked at it. I just looked at it like why they called it pink flamingos, but it was basically because pink flamingos is a sign of cheapness and bad taste,
Yep.
which is why they named it that. So it's like basically the movie is just shit for the sake of being shit, which is kind of crazy.
I mean, the main female character in the family is a prostitute, and not because she was forced into it, purely because she wanted to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. But
Yeah, not a good movie. I highly, highly don't recommend it.
yeah, I mean, I that's definitely a movie I wasn't thinking about watching, but I do know the subject of when how it is, and yeah, that's also because of
Yeah.
Wendigoon. So, one podcast, obviously, besides Gapping with the Captain, the best podcast in the world. You know, what I mean, I'm not even when we have only like one episode, and we're about to have two after this one. But you know, what I mean, besides this podcast that you should listen to, you should also listen to the podcast of Wendigoon and
Meat Canyon,
Me Canyon. Oh, that one's really good. What's the podcast?
Creepcast,
Creepcast. Creepcast.
Creepcast,
Very, very, very good.
incredible podcast.
Very good podcast. I've listened to a little bit of their stuff, and I think it's very fucking entertaining. They do a very good job at doing things. It's funny because like I feel like Wendigoon and Me Kenny and Wendigoon have like obviously similar taste, but to think like when I found out about it, like bro, like these two being together and like making a podcast is like not something I kind of expected.
Yeah, they have like their tastes are like extremely similar, but their personalities couldn't be more
Exactly, like
different.
it couldn't like be more different.
Because Wendigoon is more like he looks at it from like a analytical point of view. I get not necessarily that's a word about it, but like more like looks at it to kind of like dive deep into the meanings and things and stuff like that. And you can see that if you ever watched his channel and all the deep dive he does and stuff. Whereas Meat Canyon's just in it for the ride essentially, and you can see that in a lot of the episodes, especially in episodes where Meat Canyon doesn't really like the story. and and Wendigoon's like, "Come on, give it some more time. Stop ragging on it." But I will say there's also definitely episodes of that. If you're familiar with like horror stories, you'll be like, why would they do an episode on this? The story's bad if you know the story.
Yeah.
Like when they did like Jeff the Killer and stuff. What makes it so funny is Meat Canyon, he's not really in the world of horror stories, so like he had never actually read Jeff the Killer and stuff. Those stories that are actually bad are some of the best episodes because they result in Meat Canyon just ending up crashing out over how bad the story is.
Just losing his shit.
Yeah,
I
it,
definitely need to. I definitely need to watch some more like podcasts on them because I feel
it,
like they have such a good job of like how they set up everything.
yeah. There's one episode in particular that I always remember Hunter crashing out just because I crashed out at the same point. There's an episode where they did a story called "My Best Friend," like I dared my best friend to ruin my life. And
Okay.
there's a part in the story where the main character fucking explains what Google is.
What?
Yes.
Why would he...
And it's just
I hit my
so
mic. Oh shit.
fucking
Why would they
aggravating.
why would they explain what Google is? For those
Like,
who don't
it's
know
like,
what
yeah,
Google
I
is a
looked this
place
up
where you
on
can look up
Google.
things.
I looked something up on Google, the world's leading search engine on the internet. I'm just like, there's no
There's
way
no way
this
you're
dude
explaining
is
this.
explaining Google on an online horror story.
Oh my gosh, that's fucking hilarious, dude. I need to start doing that. I need to like, hey, yo, Toast, I'm gonna look up something on Opera GX, one of the best browsing searching history places in the world. I'm just start explaining everything I'm doing as to why I'm doing. I'm grabbing a cup that's used for drinking, by the way.
I'm gonna start be talking about Opera GX. What it is? Start reading off the stock market values of it.
Bro, I'm gonna be like talking. And I'm just gonna do like a random fucking Opera GX ad as I'm looking up something. Just start reading the script to the ad. Like,
It,
Opera
it,
GX.
there was also another story. I forget the name of it that they did. That like it went into it, and it seemed like it was going to be a good story because it was like the world they were setting up was like some world. Once you turn 18, you get this note of someone's like first name, and you have to find that specific person with that name because that is the person like you're destined to spend your life with. But
Yeah.
it only happened in like this one town that the main character is in. But then it just literally, as the story goes on, it literally is just a whisper of horror onto obviously the author self-inserting himself for the main character into his gay fantasy.
Bro, are we dead ass?
Like gay teenage romance
That's
fantasy, and
so
it's just
goofy.
they're just making fun of it through the whole episode once they realize what that is, because it's just like the horror just like goes out the window, and it's like the main character trying to impress the badass love interest that he has now. It's just like, oh
Oh, that's
my
so
god.
goofy, bro. That's so goofy. But yeah, I mean, like I said, horror is definitely something that I want to start getting into more, and I do appreciate Togs for obviously getting me more into obviously that genre. But aside from that, besides anime and horror, the final thing I really wanted to talk about was gaming. Now, holy shit, I don't know someone who has more of a taste in gaming than Toast. This man has played so many fucking games. It's crazy. Like, this guy has a new category, a new thing he tries every week, which I ain't gonna lie, I fucking respect because, like, getting into it, like, he's kind of like my dad. So, my dad is someone who, this man has probably watched every fucking TV show on earth at this point. This guy has watched everything. I tell him, hey, dad, you wanna watch this? I already watched it. Okay, what the fuck? Okay, dad, have you watched this? No. Next day, I just watched it, the whole thing. Dude, I mentioned Snowfall to my dad once. Once. He finished it in 2 days. How the fuck did you watch
I
six
remember one
seasons?
time. I remember one time, to piggyback off of this, when me and you were watching Hell's Paradise, and it only had been out for like maybe a month or two at the time. So Hudo goes to mention it to his dad because his dad likes anime and likes those type of animes, and his dad's like, "Oh yeah, I watched it."
Like, how the fuck have you watched Hell's Paradise? Like, dude, I'm telling you, any anime that has touched Netflix, sniffed it, it's gone. Gone. I mentioned Hunter x Hunter to my dad. Once. He watches the whole thing in a month. He watched One Piece Do you know how many episodes are in One Piece? He watched the whole thing in 2 months. How the
That's
fuck do you run
dedication.
through One Piece in 2 months? But this is my dad, bro. My dad is the
How do
funniest
you,
person
as
ever,
a
bro.
adult with a wife and kids and a
Exactly. And my
like
dad works 40 hours a week. Like, what
nine
the
to
fuck?
five job have the time to finish One
I,
Piece in two
I'm
months?
telling you, bro. He just gets home and just
Oh,
goes
turns
for
on
it.
the TV,
And
sits there for
I mean,
six
I
hours.
respect that, man, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, fuck. I don't have that attention span for me. Like, I can't
Your
do it.
dad's like me when it comes to me getting a new game, because like I'm the type of person like Sue says, I play a ton of games. And I'm the person, I buy a new game, I literally will not touch another game until I've beaten that game. So like you can get a game that has like 40 hours in it, I've beaten it within a week because that's like all my time goes to it when I get a new game.
Exactly. And like a prime example is like I started Digimon a while before Toast. And then he finishes it before me. I'm still
Have
yet
you
to
even
finish Digimon.
Yeah, bro,
I'm still
still
yet to
hasn't
finish
even finished.
Digimon. I haven't been able to do it because like I'm also a person that like I'll start a game, get very through it, talk about how much I love the fucking game, and then I'll just randomly stop playing games for a while. Like I haven't sat down and played a video game in a good bit because I just haven't had the time. So I like anytime I
Yeah.
get home, I just fucking like pass out on my bed or I just spend the time talking to my friends and
At
stuff.
least now with your work schedule finally becoming normal, you could actually pick some of that stuff back up.
Yeah, I know because there's two games I need to finish and not finish, but I wouldn't say finish for one of them, but two games I need to continue. Like Cyberpunk, my favorite game of all time, basically when it comes to story and like gameplay and everything. I haven't finished the DLC.
Bro had the game, completed the base game, and had the DLC before I even had the game, and I've beaten the base game and the DLC before him.
Exactly, and I talk about this so much because I have such a love for it, bro. Cyberpunk, if you haven't played it, what the fuck are you doing? Get on and play Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is, in my opinion, and I'll tell you this, you just heard what I said, right? I don't when I play a game, it takes so much for me to beat the game, right? When I got Cyberpunk, I finished that bitch 2 days. 2 days. I finished it the whole time. I got home from work. I literally just played Cyberpunk. I didn't do anything else. I just played Cyberpunk. And I remember talking about it all in gaming, putting screenshots and everything while I was playing it. That game, there is no game that touched me when it came to story more than Cyberpunk 2077 did. And that's like why I say that game is like my favorite game of all time because it is so good for me to love so many characters. That shit was like a TV show to me, bro. It was fucking perfect. I loved everything about it. And the
It,
only game I could say is contested with it, and this is just tells you how good the fucking gameplay of this game is. And it's crazy because I'm not a Souls-like player. Elden Ring is amazing, amazing. I love Elden Ring.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Toast. And it's so crazy because Toast was trying to get me to play Elden Ring for so long. I'm like, bro, I'm not a Souls like player. I'm gonna not play the game. And I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I'm buying it, right? I'm buying it. And I just had to be, like something I realized about myself too, and I saw this remnant from the ashes when I played it with my other friends is I'm super fucking stubborn when it comes to a boss. Like I will not stop until I beat that boss. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lay back, relay my options, go back. No, I'm just gonna fight it until I beat the boss
But
once. And
you're also going through what every Souls player goes through. You'll learn it if I can ever convince you to finally play fucking Dark Souls, because I've given up on Bloodborne. I feel like you're never gonna touch that again. So
Bloodborne is nah. I would have to beat another Dark Souls game before thinking about touching Bloodborne again.
yeah, and I do think you should, just because Bloodborne I do think is harder than Elden Ring or any of the three Dark Souls games,
Yeah.
just because it's a lot more intense, which is weird to say because if you know anything about like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, those games are fucking intense. It's just Bloodborne is so much faster pace.
Yeah, and not only that, bro, I got so like I just lost all my motivation when I got killed right as I was fighting the boss, and I got sent all the way back to the start, which is not something I'm used to at all because I
Yeah,
come from Elden Ring, where it's like if I die, I'm right back to where I am, like right in front of the boss, so I'm fine.
that's one hurdle that also you will have to also get over with Dark Souls as well, because Elden Ring's the first game where they've done that. But it really is a hurdle that's worth getting over, especially with how good Dark Souls is. Even Bloodborne. Bloodborne is literally Miyazaki, the mastermind behind all these games. Bloodborne's that's his baby. That's his number one.
For sure. So
So
I do wanna like obviously get through the hurdle and play it eventually. But yeah, but as I said, for me to not have played a single Souls game and got on Elden Ring, I beat in the game, I beat in the DLC, I beat Millennia before fucking Toast did. By the way,
bro beat the DLC before me.
I beat the DLC before Toast did. It took me nine
But
hours
that's
to beat Promise
purely
Consort Radon. By the way, it took me 9 fucking
that's
hours.
purely because yeah. That's purely because, as I was saying, he's going through what every Souls player does, and he's like how I was when I first started playing them. Is he gets to a boss, he just powers it until he gets through it. Doesn't worry about like he doesn't like get to a point where he gets mad. He's like, I need to take a break, bro. Just goes at it. I used to be like that when I first got into Souls games, but I've gotten to a point where I'm tired of dealing with that anger. I'll take anywhere from like 5 to 10 cracks at a boss, and it's like, yeah, it's not happening. I'll either find some like side quests that I have access to through an NPC to get some levels, or I'll go to one of because every Souls game has a couple of these spots where you can just farm the stuff you need to level up hella quick and then go back stronger.
Yeah, but yeah, for me, I was just me personally. I was just like, fuck. I just need to kill. I just need to kill this fucker. And you could see if you go back on like my Twitch and everything, you guys could check it out. When I beat Millennia, that was like, bro. I
Yeah.
ain't gonna lie, that I ain't never had it before, but it gotta feel better than sex, bro. I ain't gonna lie, like
but
it was fucking incredible. I
but
there
when
was
it does
no like I tell you I was fucking running around my room when that shit happened. I was screaming. I hated that stupid bitch so much, bro. Like oh my gosh, I
I
was
mean,
so
there's
happy
a
when I beat her.
reason that's the only person in a duel that Radon had ever respected.
Dude, that motherfucker, bro. Melania, bro. Oh my goodness, dude. I hated her so much. So I was glad I fucking put her down.
Yeah.
And then yeah, the final boss, a lot of people were to tell me that the final boss of Elden Ring wasn't that difficult, but I actually had quite a bit of trouble with it. And then Promise Consort
It,
Radam is forever the worst boss I ever faced in my life.
it,
And I'm
it, it,
glad to say I beat him before he got nerfed. I beat him before he got fucking nerfed.
we both got through him before the nerf,
Yep.
thankfully.
Yep, because
But one
that
thing
motherfucker pissed
I
me off.
will say when it comes to the final boss, Radagon is hard.
Yeah.
The Elden Beast is annoying.
My thing is I had the opposite trouble. Radagon I started getting through consistently. The Elden Beast was just pissing me off.
No, and that's the thing. You can get to a point where you can get through Radagon consistently because the type of boss he is. It's just with the Elden Beast because how big of an arena they made it and how much that motherfucker will just, oh, I'm gonna go into underground and pop up on the direct opposite side of the
Oh
arena.
man, don't even get me
Is
started.
he's not? It's not that he is a hard boss. It is just the way he works can just be so bullshit at times.
Oh, he is full of shit. That's why I would lose so much because it's also that fucking huge like those big like beams he sends at you. Then it's like a bunch of multiple shits that he sends. Oh, that shit was pissing me off. Like there was so many times where I would get him low and then I just get like fucked over, and it was pissing
Yeah,
me
he would
off,
just
dude.
do the rain of fucking magical arrows that you have to
Exactly,
run
and
the
I
break the
could
trail
not
of.
deal with those for the life of me. So I was just at a point where I was
I
just
can't
losing it.
wait till I can convince you to play Dark Souls 3 because there's a boss called Aldrich the Devourer of the Gods
I
that
was
you're
thinking
putting.
of playing Dark Souls 3 before any other Dark Souls game.
Yeah, I will say that. But that Aldrich the Devourer of the Gods, you're put into a pretty not that big of a room. It's big enough for a boss arena if Aldrich didn't take up like a third of the room with the size he is.
Oh boy.
And he also just like the Elden Beast does will disappear and appear on another part of the room and just throw fucking magic at you, and one of his attacks is he pulls out a bow and arrow, shoots it up towards the sky, and you have to run as a trail of arrows rain down behind you.
That's so ass. Yeah, that's how fucking Promise Consort Dawn was doing me, bro, with all that fucking bullshit and the follow ups with when he got in the second phase, I almost wanted to jump off a cliff, dude. It was doing me so bad. But
But
yeah, I
bro would
mean,
turn into a sonic ball and fucking charge at you.
dude, bro. Yeah, but yeah. but honestly, those are like the two games that I think I love the most. Pokemon is also something I loved a lot when it comes to like gaming and all that, but that's something that, I can get
Though,
into and in and out about too.
yeah, when it comes to you and like you loving the story of Cyberpunk, one game I have to convince you to play just because I'm someone who doesn't like turn-based games, so like this is not something that I would have usually played. Like for me, turn-based games, it was like Pokemon, Final Fantasy, that's it.
Yeah.
Pokemon, it was because, ooh, cool monster, want to collect them, and the turn-based of those battles were so minimalistic that it wasn't really an issue. And then Final Fantasy, it's because, God, almost nothing can beat a Final Fantasy story. It just bangers all around. But Claire Obscure Expedition 33, that game has one of the story of that game inserted it into my top 5 games of all time. That is, I to me, the story of that's on par with Cyberpunk.
Really? I should probably
It
pick
is
it up. I heard it's
a
very good, so
I mean, there's a reason it had more nominees for the Game Awards than any game before because the obviously the time and effort put into that game, the voice acting, the story, just it's an incredible experience.
yeah, I should give it a shot at a point, especially with it being turn-based. I'm someone who does like those type of things as well, so.
And one another thing was me, someone who doesn't like turn-based, that helped with it. It's not like most every other turn-based game. Choose your attack, or choose what ability you want to do, or choose to block something, and then wait your turn. It's you do your attack or your ability, and then when the enemy goes for the turn, you can either parry or dodge the enemy attacks
Oh, okay. So you can like follow
as they're
up in their
attacking.
turn. Okay, that's cool. I think that's very interesting. But that's
And like
definitely
if an
something I want to give
enemy
a shot to for sure.
Yeah, and like the enemy has a combo of moves, and if you time it all to be able to dodge and or parry all of them, you'll do a little follow-up attack before you actually go into your next turn.
Oh, I like that for sure. It's kind of like for me with another game I picked up with what I that I played with you a lot, Baldur's Gate. I need to get back into that game soon, but I did like the game when we definitely played it. I do like the D&D esque idea of it,
Yeah,
how it works and
Baldur's
everything.
Gate is an incredible game.
Yeah, but besides that, though, honestly, this was a very fun episode with you, THANATOS, and
Hell yeah.
we are at the 1 hour mark now. So obviously, we got to respect the yapping with the captain 1 hour time limit. And
Fuck the rules.
man, fuck you. I'm joking. But um, this was a great podcast. It went by super quick. And that concludes it for episode 2. Coming in for episode 3, I have no fucking clue. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of had like episode 1 and 2 lined up. I'm like, okay, Rican number 1, then
Maybe
I'll do
put out another
Thanatos.
poll for it.
Maybe might do another poll for it, but I at the same time, depending on who's available, I think I might do someone like Brandon. But we'll see
Yeah,
how I'm feeling depending on it. But other than that, though, thank you so much, Toast, for coming in. Thank you so much for
you're
this
welcome. You're
conversation.
welcome.
And thank you guys for watching. God bless. And I'll see you guys on the next episode of Yappin' with the Captain. Goodbye.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace.